morning. It's Saturday, April 18th. I don't know if I'm going to really rant this morning. I'm just going to talk about some guidelines. I've bashed Trump in the past, and today I'm prepared to give him some credits for seemingly admitting that he really doesn't have total authority over the states. And in addition to that, he released a cogent plan called Guidelines, opening up America again. I must admit I don't understand the word again, because in my lifetime I never remember America being shut down, unless maybe there was some time during World War II that something was happening. The guidelines, however, in the document make sense, and for once we have a blueprint to follow. The guidelines have three phases based upon the gating criteria. Now, gating is not a word. You won't find it in any dictionaries. But in the world of technology, gates are used to manage processes. They open and close when processes start and or finish. So it means, in this sense, when you meet the criteria, you can move forward. You can go through the gate. So at this point, I was prepared to go through some of the guidelines and discuss them with you. And now I find that is totally unnecessary at this point, because as I was putting this together last night, my good friend Donald broke with his own guidelines to back conservatives and anti-quarantine protesters. So he writes, liberate Minnesota, liberate Michigan, liberate Virginia, and save your great Second Amendment. It is under siege. He's got these people out there protesting stay at home, and he brings in gun control, the Second Amendment, gun control. What has that got to do with stay at home? Are these people staying at home and polishing their guns? For what? There's nothing moving around outside. Some of the reason that Trump's social media posts probably frustration because the local directives have put the brakes on the U.S. economy, which is the strength of his reelection effort. And Trump also represents a back and forth between the governors who are seeking more assistance from his administration, and the president doesn't want to accept blame for a federal response that has been widely criticized as inadequate and slow-footed. So we have thousands of protesters, many wearing Trump paraphernalia, that have congregated in the capital cities of Minnesota, Michigan, and Virginia, flouting the stringent mitigation measures imposed by the Democratic governors. And he's backing them. It's okay for them to protest and avoid all the social distancing. And if this thing blows up, Donald can kiss his re-election campaign goodbye. But knowing Donald, when it blows up, if it blows up, he won't be to blame. He'll blame the governors for having those stringent restrictions and not being able to control the crowds. He'll forget about his tweets. He'll forget about Pence defending him and those. He will just forget about it and find somebody to blame. There'll be some poor schmuck in the crowd that did it. He will not take blame for anything. So I just hope it doesn't happen. This really pisses me off, that the president's actions are suggesting that Americans should disobey state orders directly. It's ridiculous that the president should suggest that Americans disobey state orders. That contradicts his own statements in the past, acknowledging the governor's authority to announce restrictions to combat the disease's spread. The whole thing sucks. This shouldn't surprise anybody, because at the news briefing on Thursday, Trump declined to condemn them, instead noting that they seemed to be protesters who like me, and that the marchers had been going through a tough time. Their tough time hasn't been any tougher than anybody else's time. These actions shouldn't surprise me. They remind me of Charlottesville, when he said, "There's very nice people on both sides." Well, there's not nice people on both sides. It is not nice people. These are not law-abiding citizens in my mind. I know that some of you out there are not happy with my rant and feel that I've been picking on Trump too often. Well, it's the nature of the beast. He always puts himself in a position to be picked on. So just ask yourself this question. Why would he defend these people, going against his own edict that allowed the governors to do what their job is? Why is he defending these people? Ask yourself that question. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for listening.